There is a half second right before you buy something to paff, when your finger is already hovering trough. And in that half second, you're not deciding whether you need it. You're deciding whether you can stand how you feel without it. You tell yourself it's just a small upgrade, a nicer version, something you've earned. But underneath, it isn't desire. It's a quiet pressure that whispers you might be falling behind by pay, and that this one purchase will prove you're not. Most of the money that quietly leaks out of capable people's lives isn't spent on things they actually want. Don't. It's spent buying proof, proof to an audience that never announces a verdict. Once you see that moment clearly, you can keep that money without feeling like you've lost anything. Because there is a single rule the quietly wealthy live by, and it has almost nothing to do with budgeting. It's a rule that makes you, strangely, much harder to impress. Before we get to it, look at the one purchase you've already made this month that you can't honestly explain. Think back to the last thing you bought that you still don't completely feel at peace with. Not the obvious mistake, not the thing that wrecked your account, the cow, the quiet one. Upgrade that technically made sense, the dinner that turned into a performance, the item that still has tags on it but somehow felt urgent when you clicked buy. In that moment, you weren't just browsing. You were soothing something. You were trying to calm a feeling that is very hard to admit out loud. The fear that you might be behind. On the surface, you framed it as comfort or reward. I've worked hard. I deserve this. I don't want to live like a student forever. But if you replay that half second before the purchase, you can feel the tension. It wasn't about the object. It was about what the object was supposed to say about you. This is the split most people never consciously notice. There is buying the thing, the actual utility, the way it fits your day, the way it solves a real problem. And there is buying proof proof that you are successful enough, grown up enough, not stuck, not lagging. Buying the thing usually leaves you feeling settled. You use it. It earns its place. You almost forget what you paid because it's folded into your life. Buying proof leaves a different residue. You can afford it, you own it, but the small knot in your stomach doesn't actually go away. It just quiets for a bit, then returns the next time you see someone with more. That's the first tension to resolve here. You are not bad with money because you like nice things. You get into trouble when you ask money to fix feelings it cannot fix. If it's not really about the money, then what are you actually paying for? For a lot of people, the honest answer is, you are paying to keep an audience impressed. You might not call it that, but watch how your thoughts move when you want something. You picture how it looks on you, in your home, in your feed. You imagine who will see it, colleagues, friends, family, and what they will conclude. She's doing well. He figured it out. They made it. Most of your expensive impulses are not private. They're social. They're about narrative. Over time, money becomes less of a tool and more of a microphone. Every purchase is a line you speak into it. This is who I am now. The problem is that this audience is almost entirely in your head. Real people are too busy thinking about their own lives to track your every purchase. But your nervous system doesn't know that. It reacts as if there is a jury watching, taking notes, voting on whether you are winning or losing. So you live in a strange arrangement. You work to earn money. You then spend a significant part of that money convincing an invisible audience that you are doing well. And because that audience never actually leans over and says, "You've proved enough, you can relax now," the performance never ends. Every time you reach a new level, the level above it becomes the new normal. You will never feel done. You've seen this play out. Every time you reach a new level, the level above it becomes the new normal. You hit an income you once dreamed about and immediately recalibrate to, "Of course. Now I need more." You move into a home that once felt aspirational, and within a year, you're noticing what the neighbors have that you don't. The bar keeps moving the moment you touch it. That is the trap of using money as proof. The reference point constantly shifts, and you are always slightly behind it. There is one question that cuts through this performance instantly, if you're willing to answer it honestly. If nobody knew I owned this pay, if nobody ever saw it would I still want it? Strip away the image. Strip away the imagined reactions. If the purchase only touched your actual day-to-day life, would it still matter? If the answer is no, then you're not buying the object. You're buying a story. And stories like that are expensive. Not just in dollars, but in what they cost you long-term. The margin you never build, the options you never create, the quiet confidence you never actually feel. You hit an income you once dreamed about and immediately recalibrate to, "Of course." The rule is simple. Stop needing your money to prove you are doing well. That's the core. Not stop enjoying your life, not live in permanent deprivation, not pretend status doesn't exist. Just when you take that job away from your money, a few things shift at once. First, your decisions become less theatrical. You stop asking, "What does this say about me?" and start asking, "What does this actually do for me?" The car is no longer a costume. The apartment is no longer a backdrop. The dinner is no longer a scene. They are, very simply, choices tonned, and choices can be evaluated clearly. When it isn't being stretched to carry your identity, it can finally do its real work: safety, flexibility, time. Third, other people's spending loses its ability to throw you off balance. You stop needing every raise to show up immediately in your lifestyle just to broadcast progress. They're just people making different choices with different assignments given to their money. First, your decisions become less theatrical. They can admire someone else's expensive choice without feeling called to respond. The person at work who upgrades everything, the friend who always seems to be in a nicer place, the stranger online who lives your dream life, they don't react quickly to status pressure. They are very hard to bait into competition. They can admire someone else's expensive choice without feeling called to respond. You could call that being hard to impress, but it's more precise to say this. They are not impressed by proofs. They are interested in realities. They ask, is this person free? Are they calm? Do they have options? Not. How big is the performance? So how do you get from where you are now to K? Living in a world soaked in signals and subtle comparison das to that quieter posture? You don't get there by force. You get there by rewiring that half second. The next time you are about to buy something non-essential, slow that tiny moment down. Your finger is hovering. Your brain is busy manufacturing reasons. Pause, just long enough to ask 2 questions. Am I buying the thing, or am I buying proof? And if nobody saw this, would I still want it? Notice what happens in your body as you answer. If you're buying the thing, you feel grounded. You can picture exactly how it will be used, where it lives, what it replaces, what it solves. It might be beautiful, it might be simple, it might even be luxurious pal, but its value is clear, even in private. If you're buying proof, the energy feels different. You start thinking about who will notice, how it compares, what it suggests about your trajectory. The value lives in other people's eyes, not in your actual experience. You don't have to fight that impulse. You just have to see it clearly. Because once you see that you're about to pay, again, to calm status anxiety for about 48 hours, it becomes much harder to call that a rational trade. Status is a high-maintenance currency. It requires constant updates, constant proof, and constant anxiety about whether it's still working. Real freedom is the ability to stop proving yourself to people who aren't even looking. Every time you choose reality over performance, you reclaim a piece of your own life. You don't need a bigger stage. You just need to be more present in the room you're already in. The goal isn't to never want anything. The goal is to want things for the right reasons. Ask yourself, is this for me? Or is it for the version of me I want them to see? That half second of hesitation is where your freedom lives. Don't rush past it. When the performance ends, who is the person left behind? That's the one who matters. Money can buy proof, but only you can create peace. The quietest room in the world is the one where you finally have nothing left to prove. You're just letting it play the role it's built for.
Over time, if you keep doing this, your environment starts to change. You accumulate fewer objects that feel like costumes and more that feel like tools or genuine pleasures. You stop tripping over past performances in your closet, in your kitchen, in your subscriptions. And something else shifts. Your sense of enough starts coming from inside your life, not from outside comparisons. That's the piece that quietly reverses lifestyle inflation. When money is performing, every extra dollar wants a stage. New income must become visible. A nicer car, a bigger place, constant upgrades, just to signal that progress is happening. When money stops performing, new income doesn't need to be announced. It can be absorbed. It can disappear quietly into buffers, into time, into breathing room.
From the outside, nothing dramatic changes. From the inside, everything is different. You stop feeling on edge.
You stop constantly editing your life to match someone else's highlight reel. At this point, status anxiety doesn't vanish, but it loses its authority. You still notice where other people sit in the visible hierarchy. You just don't treat it as a command. You can respect somebody who spends heavily in a category you don't care about, without feeling the urge to respond.
You can decline to participate in certain signals without feeling like you've failed some invisible test.
You become harder to impress, not because you're numb, but because you're paying attention to a different scoreboard. You start asking different questions about wealth itself. Not how big does it look, but how free does it feel? Not how much can I display, but how much can I choose? And this is the final loop back to that half second before a purchase.
Every time you hover over buy, you are not just deciding what to own. You are deciding which story you're reinforcing.
The story where money is a nervous, overworked spokesperson, constantly trying to prove you're okay. Or the story where money is a quiet, competent partner in a life that already has worth, with or without props. The quiet wealth rule, stop needing your money to prove you are doing well, Bill, is uncomfortable at first. Because it takes away one of the laziest ways to feel powerful.
But what it gives you in return is control over something much rarer.
The ability to walk through your own life, see what you genuinely need and what you genuinely enjoy, and let
that be enough pie, even when nobody is watching, and especially when everybody is watching.
So the next time you feel that tight, urgent desire to show where you are in life, don't
rush to mute it with a purchase.
Let it speak for a moment. Listen to what it's actually afraid of.
Then decide, with intention, whether this is a moment to buy the thing or a moment to finally stop buying proof.